You caught us on
Hello,
our
everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Ferguson, Harrington, Hawks.
I'm Ferguson.
I'm Harrington.
And I'm Hawks.
Oh, we've got this sexy voice from Chesney this week.
I wasn't trying then.
Oh, you
That was
weren't?
naturally
Yeah, you
sexy.
were.
He was still warming up. He wasn't warmed up
Let me show you how
sexy
it
yet.
goes if I was trying.
All right, okay.
And I'm Hawks.
Oh, bit more projection, please, love.
I think that sounds a bit creepy.
Yeah, Chrissy would say the same thing. Yeah. Just don't do that.
Yeah.
So it's just sexier the other way then. All right, I'll stick to that.
Do you know, it's nice. I'm feeling like I'm liking this new setup, right? I'm liking the thing. And you must be liking it too, Neil, because it takes you out from your cupboard under the stairs.
Yeah, absolutely. It gives me
once a
something
week.
to do because there's not enough to do in life, you know? So
I like it because it's structured. And you know how I like structure.
Oh, you like a structure. I mean, it's because we've got Neil 3.0, or was it 2.0? Can't remember.
3.0.
It's going up.
3.0.
It's going up.
And now we've also got Chesney 3.0 because you've got your structure going on. Like, give me a structure, give me a brainy thing.
I think it's quite funny that the two dyslexic ones like structure. That's
Well, maybe that's
quite
why
an
we like structure.
that's
you
an
know?
interesting one to
Our
think
life
about.
is such a chaotic mess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like something that we aim for, but don't very often get
The
there.
thing that's funny as well with the two of you is out of the three of us, I'm the only one who's not dyslexic, but I'm also the one who's least likely to send a text or email. The two of you really like your messaging. Oh, you like your messaging.
Yeah, I apologise. I've been bugging you guys like crazy, so
No, I
Yeah,
told
that's
him earlier not to
coming thick and
apologise.
strong.
It's all proactive and it's great. It's great. It's been
Getting
good.
shit done, man.
Ches, you're going on the getting shit done list kind of guy.
Yeah, that's
on that
it. Yeah,
list.
I want to be that guy. Really annoying.
It's working
It must
well.
be really hellish, actually, because you're known for your adorability, and Neil, you're known for like your proficiency in order and stuff like that. It must be like really difficult or annoying to be known as the annoying guy. I mean, imagine waking up in the morning and going, okay, I'm Timmy Mallet. I'm known for being... What am I known for being? Right?
Timmy's lovely.
Do you know Timmy Mallet?
Yeah, I've known Timmy.
And is he annoying?
No, he's very nice. He's actually very nice. He's a nice man. It's that kind of he puts on the Timmy Mallet hat and becomes that character. He's
Of
actually
course
quite
it's a
kind of-
character.
yeah, he's not as flamboyant as in real life as you would imagine him.
I think it's not him so much that I think is annoying, but didn't he have a big hammer or something like... Oh, no, he had a mallet.
The mallet.
Timmy
It's actually a mallet.
Rubber man.
Timmy
Mallet's mallet.
Timmy Mallet had a hammer. That is like where my head is at the moment, right? Didn't he have a comedy hammer? I think that's quite
that's cool.
an interesting thing for this episode in a way, which is that people aren't always what they appear to be. Do you know what I mean?
They do.
That the idea, because I trust you because we're very similar in who we like and all that. If you say Timmy Mallet's a nice guy, I'll go, oh, he probably is a nice guy. But I have to say, from appearances, I would have gone, he's not really my flavour.
Yeah. He may not be,
Yeah,
Lynn.
well,
He may not
I don't
be.
know. I don't know.
But it is true. We all have that kind of, especially people in the public eye. People have preconceptions about people, don't they? So
They do.
nobody ever really knows a famous person, which is why I don't like to judge anyone till I've actually met them,
Yeah. It's hard, though, if somebody's wandering about with a big comedy hammer, right? If they've got a big comedy hammer, they hit people with.
Yeah, with an itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a song for someone with dyslexia, that, is it?
Right, I'm going to steer us, team, because I'm looking at the clock. I am going
Right.
to steer us to our quote of the evening from our guest of the day. And it is a quote by the Dalai Lama. And it is, be kind whenever possible. It is always possible.
Amen.
Oh.
So that tells us quite a lot about our guest, I guess, doesn't it? Just that
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah, it does.
It is always possible to be kind, but just sort of a bit left field here. Is it always appropriate? And I suppose I throw up in the air for discussion that, do you think maybe in life we need to breed and encourage a bit more stoicism in others? and constant kindness is overdone or OTT?
Do you know why I think it's good to be kind? Here's the thing, right?
I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it's not good.
But I think that it's at the moment being kind is an act of rebellion. I sort of think, because we are being encouraged to be angry or frightened, or like, if you're kind, it kind of puts you in a place where you're like, yeah, I can see you're an asshole, but I'm good with it, right? That's sort of kindness, right?
Yeah.
But the other night, I was out for a walk with Mark, and somebody had done something. People are a little crazy just now when you're dealing with them business-wise. And somebody had done something that really annoyed me. Like, they really annoyed me, and their behaviour was out of order, right? It was an out-of-order thing that they did. And when I was walking with Mark the other night, we walk the dog late at night, and I said, the thing is I really want to let go of the resentment on it. Like, I really want it, because the person who did the bad thing, and it's done. And if I can be kind about it, if I can be in an acceptance of it, then the incident really is done. Whereas if I have resentment about what they've done, and I'm like,
and you fester over it,
then the incident gets to continue, and it actually becomes part of my story. So I don't always think being kind turns me into Julie Andrews in The Sound of Music, but I do sometimes. I choose to be kind because I'm like, I'm not going to pick up other people's shit here.
Yeah.
That's theirs.
Kindness can be mistaken for weakness, though, can't it?
Totally.
I'm glad you mentioned that, actually, because the translation of what Dalai Lama was really meaning as well with that is always be kind and humble. That's the bit that's missing. And of course, being kind doesn't mean tolerating injustice. Not every situation warrants your anger. So what you've got to remember is save your anger for the truly deserving times. And I suppose that could also be translated as calm the down and stop being a prick, right? Basically.
But also, humble doesn't mean wandering about going, oh my God. Humble is, I think, humility is about going, well, I'm just really one kind of living creature on a big planet full of other living creatures. The most of them don't even have 2 legs. They've got 4 or 6 or whatever, or no legs at all. And that actually humility is about being able to right size yourself. You go, technically I have to deliver this thing next week, but I don't really have to make the sunrise or set. Do you know what I mean? I don't control the tides. I really just have to deal with this one thing.
Yeah.
I kind of like the end of that quote, which is that because it is always possible.
It is always possible,
There's always a way to be kind, even when you're angry and you have to do a response to someone.
Yeah.
I think we all have that ability to just jump on something that's happened to you and just kind of blurt, and it never helps, does it? It never helps. And Chrissy's really good at this, where she'll just say, look, just sleep on it. Don't even respond right now, because your response from when you first kind of get something that's bugging you is going to be different from the response that you give, 24 hours later, or even a couple of hours later.
Yeah.
Because you think differently, things calm down, the red mist goes, and you realise that, by responding in a similar way is not going to get you anywhere, really. So look for the kindness, and that also will help you help that thing calm down, and it won't come with you and be your story anymore. Yeah,
because the only thing I hate more than somebody who's been a douchebag is when I've been a douchebag back.
Oh, it's the worst.
I don't really like that.
I hate that.
So, in my head, I do the thing of, am I angry? Yes. Am I so angry that I'm going to throw the contents of my underwear drawer at them? Maybe not. Maybe I'll just sit down for a little bit.
But it's really empowering, isn't it, to work through the anger, and just it's something that takes time to learn, and it's a really interesting place to go mentally sometimes. I find, because it's a test. It's a big test, isn't it? You have to go, okay, I'm just going to work through it.
But sometimes the things that make you angry are from long time ago, from things that happen when you're a kid, or that you can do nothing about, right? And then I guess the kindness is about being kind to yourself. Like having patience with yourself, being able to give space to what your own feeling is. Because, there are some things that make, I can think of stuff that makes me angry that if I think about it, that I can do nothing about because it happened when I was much younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also sometimes I think it's a little fight or flight. I mean, anger is really just fear with a scary hat on most of the time. It's like, that happened to me. I'm really afraid they either A, don't notice me, B, I'm not relevant, C, I'm forgotten about, D, I'm in danger, right? It's usually that it's related to fear and it's just a slightly different slant on it.
Yeah. I have been reading a book.
Oh, well, he is definitely a brainy boy.
This is Neil Point. Really, like a whole one or with pictures
I'm
in it?
30 chapters in, okay?
No,
I'm at
no
chapter,
way.
Yeah. So
How did you do that as a dyslexic?
Let's we'll make that another show, okay? Let's keep this
I don't believe you,
introduction-
Neil. I don't believe you're
this
dyslexic.
introduction about the guest, okay? So I've been reading
Sorry.
this book, and this book is called My Horizontal Life, an Escort's Tale. So here's a question for you guys and listeners. Listener, here's a question for you, listener. Yeah. What kind of journey would someone experience to take them from studying Shakespeare at the prestigious Juilliard School of Drama in New York to then becoming one of America's top courtesans? So our next guest can tell us exactly what that journey is. Please welcome actress, writer, comedian, candid, funny and all-round lovely human being. It's Sephe Haven on our podcast.
Yay! Thank you.
Hello, love.
Hello. Yes, I want to read that book. What does happen to her?
Hey, but this is your second book. Isn't this your second book, though?
Well, no, that was the first book that Neil just said. The second one, is called A Sunday Courtesan, and it's like a prequel.
I see.
Okay, I need to get on to that one.
You're going to have to really watch innuendo here in this, right? Because it's so tempting. And actually, I'd love to say that Sephe would be like, oh, no innuendo. But she likes a bit of innuendo as well. I'm right? I'm going to say.
Yeah, I was just about to say, but then I thought I can't say that. It's their show. He's going to get on
You can
that.
say whatever you like on our
whatever
show. Yeah.
Can I just have the role? It's usually me that lowers the tone, all right? So can I just set that? It's usually my role.
Listener, turn away. This is a private thing between me and Sephe. You guys stop listening. Use dyslexia.
Put your fingers in your ear.
Right, okay, right. No, normally at this point, Neil is quite, well, shall I say, serious, right? Neil can be quite
broody.
solemn and quite broody and meaningful.
Broody?
And I don't think I've ever seen him so perky. He's quite perky.
Do you know what it is? I'll tell you what it is.
Is it because you read a book?
Yourself.
It's because it's unbound confidence that I'm 30 f***ing chapters in.
Is it your first book, Neil?
Page, was it? Hang on a minute, it's page 357 of 494.
that's the new
Achievement,
one.
all right?
Yeah.
That's the new one. Yeah.
That's
So,
why
right,
I'm
okay.
so full of myself.
So I've read the first one and Neil's read the second
the
one.
second
So
one,
between
yeah.
us, we know you.
Between us, it's going to be a long night, Sephe, yeah.
Yeah, but possibly our listener singular, may not know you. So I want to ask the question really that we set or Neil set in his introduction. How does someone go from studying Shakespeare at Juilliard to becoming one of America's most sought after courtesans?
You have to be really dependable. That's like a major
Good diary skills, right?
Yeah. Well, in the book, I got really broke because we have student loans here. I don't know how they are in Europe.
Oh,
But,
we have them too.
Yeah.
But do you have to pay them back?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then
gosh,
you know. Yeah. And so
Yeah, but they are different in the UK. Just to perspectivise it for our listener, a college here would cost maybe $40,000 a year. Can cost up to $40,000 a year for just a year of education, right? So you're looking, and also colleges over here are 4 years. So you're looking at 160 grand of debt before you've even entered into the workplace.
yeah, I mean, for me, it was 9 years of school. by the time
Wow.
I finished Juilliard. And, I didn't think about it. I was like, I'm there doing art. What? Money,
course.
what? And then you finish, and the second you finish, the student loans come in, and you have to, that's it then. And I was just about to be homeless, and I didn't know what to do, so I saw this ad, and it said, girls earn $1,000 a week. Escorts wanted no sex involved. And I thought, yeah, okay, I escort men places anyway for free. And so I thought, well, I'll try that. But then it turned out there was sex involved, But then I thought, well, I've done that too, just for free. So this might be better. I don't know.
Because I remember when we met, or one of the many times that we met and talked about stuff, now I might have been imagining this, but was there a place where you were living on the roof in New York beside the pigeons? Did I make that up?
No, you didn't make it up, but that was before Juilliard. So before I got to Juilliard, before I got there, I went to New York a little too quickly, and I thought, well, I'll just get a waitress job, and that wasn't so fast because I guess you need New York experience. So I ended up in the YMCA. I ran out of money, and this medical student who was staying in the YMCA said, you just go to the roof and be on the roof, and then you can have some place to be safe. So I stayed up there, and I didn't know where I was going to go from there. And then I got really lucky because this guy came on the roof like the second night, and he rolled one of those drum cigarettes, the drum tobacco. And then he got really like, oh, somebody's up here. And I was up there, and we met, and then we fell in love on the roof, and I went to Amsterdam with him, and I thought, well, I'm not going to Juilliard. That's it. I'm going to be in love and speak Dutch and eat pannenkoek and stuff.
How did that work out?
It didn't. It did not work out.
Also, I think one of the fascinating things that you've taught me is, and I remember when because we met to talk about writing and stuff like that, right? Well, as you know, I'm saying it from a listener who may not know. And, or listener, singular. But one of the things that you really opened my eyes about escorting was that the concept that we have in the world that only beautiful people deserve to be touched, and that only beautiful people deserve to have sex, and only beautiful people deserve to have relationships, and that if you don't have a relationship, or you can't have sex or whatever, you have to just kind of like deal with it and recognize you're not one of the beautiful people, and that was something that you absolutely objected to. And I'd never really thought about it that way, because I've always kind of, in my mind, I guess I have a sort of Starsky and Hutch idea of what an escort is, right? Which is that the escort's kicking and screaming and going, no, no, no. And then it's a big Russian guy going, oh, and all that. I'm revealing too much of myself.
I'm sure there's some of that.
I'm sure there is.
No, I got very lucky. When I answered that ad, I didn't know I was getting lucky, but I answered the ad, and it went to an agency, because at that time, a long time ago, when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, there was telephone books, and that's how we did things, through telephone books. And so she had a big ad in the Yellow Pages, and the reason that girls couldn't be independent, I didn't know any of this at the time, but was those ads cost $5,000 a month, which at that time, when the dinosaurs roamed, was a lot of money. So there was agencies. So I ended up at a very good agency with a really strict but really organized and dependable woman who cared about the girls and cared about the clients. She called them sir, and you were a lady, you dressed well, you dressed in designer, or you didn't work. You got your nails done and your hair done, and she took me from this little Juilliard ragamuffin person and like did things.
Are you still in contact with her? I just wondered, because I know in the book I definitely got the impression that you really liked her.
I did.
That it was a relationship that, I mean, I know she was hard and tough and everything, but it really, I could kind of feel the love through the words that you had for her, which is why I asked that question, if you'd stayed in contact.
I did for quite a while. I worked for her even after I became independent. But then she actually got busted, and but they couldn't press any charges against her because she paid all her taxes. And that's really the only last thing. And nobody would, clients would not testify against her, girls would not testify against her, so they really couldn't nail her for anything. They tried taxes, and after that, she was a multi-millionaire at that point, so she was like, I'm out of here. And then we never saw her again. But when I wrote the book, a lot of the girls, not a lot, some of the girls that I knew from the time got back in touch with me and said, oh my God, you nailed Susan, it's so perfect. I liked her because she took good care. I mean, she was strict, but she took good care of us. And she taught me how to be a perfectionist, and she taught me what was important about the job, which had nothing to do with, I shouldn't say nothing, but very little to do with beauty, Lynn, like you were talking about. It was more to do with, seriously, dependability and seeing other people, seeing men. A lot of times men and women don't get seen, and when I was working with you, Lynn, you made me feel seen and important and heard. And like, my story, but a lot of people don't make you feel that way, You could come in and have a transaction with somebody and do the same thing, but it doesn't mean as much. So I think she taught me that it was important to have people mean something to you. And then when that happened, I think I just started climbing that ladder of success as the number one hooker in America. It's such a proud moment. Proud.
But I guess, you said it yourself, you were lucky that was the agency you ended up with. To start with, because I guess you hear stories and you see films about these things, and more often than not, the people in charge, the madams, the pimps, or whatever, all are portrayed and as these horrible people, and I'm sure that happens. I'm sure there is a lot of that. I'm sure you experienced some of that, but you were lucky to fall in with Susan.
I was. I think you're right. I think part of the reason I wanted to write the book was because of what you just said, which was I think there's so many stereotypes that I had. Even I thought, oh my God, I'm going to get into this business and I'm going to be beaten by a pimp and end up in a gutter with a needle in my arm, and I don't know. I was terrified, because you see it all on TV, and then after I lived 2 decades of it, I realized almost none of it is true in my world, and a lot of that is written by men who don't really have the female experience of it. And also, like in any business, you could be in appliances, and that could mean you're the CEO, that could mean you build refrigerators, that could mean you deliver them. So the sex industry has so many different components, so what you're seeing probably is just the obvious, pimp on the corner kind of thing, which has
Starsky and Hutch.
Starsky and Hutch.
And in the structuring of the podcast, it would be good if we asked guests to have a quotation or something that they felt that they lived by, and we asked you, and your quotation was
be kind whenever possible. It is always possible.
Yeah.
And that's the Dalai Lama.
And how has that helped you? Because I think even in the time that I've known you, that people are not always kind to you when they know what you do.
They're not always kind anyway, right?
No, they're not. But also there is a thing, one of the things that when I said to the boys I'd really like Sephe to come on, is I said I'll ask her. Because she'll ask me whether you guys would be all right with her being on the podcast, because you're always mindful of what other people may feel meeting you. It's one of the very interesting things that I think about you. It's very uniquely you, actually, is that you always take a moment to check that other people might be disturbed by you when you're really just not a very disturbing person at all. Quite adorable, really.
Glad you say that, because nobody can see me. The one listener cannot see me.
There's only one listener. It's one listener. We can take a photograph and send it on their phone. How has kindness helped you? How has being kind, or that quote, helped you?
Well, that's a great question. I think it goes to the heart of... Well, I think when I was writing myself as a character, it makes you explore yourself deeper, and find out what drives you and so forth. And I found that I was a very fearful person, and kindness. I was fearful of meanness mostly, of other people's meanness. I was so scared of it. And so the only way to combat it really was to be kind, right? Because otherwise you're just fighting, it doesn't work. And I thought too, when I would go into work with men, I'm a little girl, all by myself, going into a room with a man alone, or he's coming to me. And there has to be a sense of faith and trust, but also, no matter what was going on, if I immediately saw the God in him, I don't mean it to sound religious, but that soul and the kindness in him, and then came in with kindness, that saved all the situations. And I don't think too, if I didn't ever want to become hard. So if you were reading the first book, it was a book, it's a book about a lot of non-consensual situations, and you could get angry, you could get hard, but if you do, then you lose yourself, right? So I sort of felt like in every situation, it started to become the answer. Like, what would I do? Well, what if I took the time to be empathetic and be kind? You don't have to forgive, but there is a sense of coming at things with kindness, and it changes everything. It keeps you happy, right?
Were you unique amongst the girls that you worked with in that perspective?
Well, I think there were many girls that it was a business too, just like in every thing. It's always a business, whatever business you're in. But I think there were other girls that came at it through love, and they wanted it to be special. Every person they saw, they wanted them to have a special experience. And those girls I'm still friends with today. And so there's other girls that have dropped by the wayside or didn't stay long enough because for them it wasn't a happy business.
Yeah, I imagine that has to be quite tricky because it's not really a business where you can sort of just phone it. Well, maybe you can phone it in, I don't know, but like
some girls do.
No, I'm sure.
When you said phone it in, I was thinking there was a time I was on a call with a girl when I was very new and didn't know, and I was kind of watching other girls to learn what to do. And sometimes you would be sent on a call with another girl, and so it would be two girls, one guy, and I didn't know what to do. And they would not always, but this particular girl, when the guy was with his eyes closed, she would roll her eyes like what a fool he is, And then one time she picked up the TV clicker. She was going. Can I say that? Going down?
Yeah, you can say whatever you want.
She's going down on him, and in the middle of it, and I'm getting the balls, and she's got the long part, So we got two timing it, and we're both, and he's got the TV on, which I wasn't even paying attention to, but it was on Nick at Night, and I guess she didn't like that particular show, Gunsmoke or something. I don't like Gunsmoke either, but I didn't need to change the channel. Then she changed the channel in the middle of like this blowjob, and that's the only time he became sort of conscious. He's like, "What's going?" Oh, and she's like, "Oh, my knee hit it. My knee hit it." But I just thought, how is she paying attention to the TV and not involved in this penis right here that's doing stuff?
Oh gosh, that's brilliant. But I'm sure that probably happens with couples in everyday life, that kind of thing. Just reading a book behind yourself there. I'm sure that happens all the time.
I guess so. But not while you're being paid.
No, perhaps not, no.
Yeah, that's right.
The thing I'd say as well is because I know you as being a great writer. Our relationship is I love your writing. I think you're very talented with it.
Yeah, me too.
And you know how to place together a story. Honestly, with Juilliard, you go, well, all of this is a bit of acting, so technically the years of Juilliard must have helped.
Yeah.
So much, yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
But also the level of making story, how much is creating. Do you create a narrative when you go into the room? Or have you used kind of your writing skills in a way to get you through situations where you just make it into something
Well,
else?
there's two different answers to that. On the one hand, mostly when I would go in like you go into an improv, which is to be totally open and ready to say yes to whatever, whoever, whatever.
Yeah.
No matter the personality or the look or whatever, there's, you just stay open and go with it. And the other person, the guy usually, is the other actor. So he's bringing in whatever. So that's more improv, I think. And then, depending on what's going on, I used to be able to weave this sort of, I had a 2-hour stage play set up. Men didn't know it because it was seamless. And, but I knew it. So that they would have to book 2 hours. And they would come to me, and I had my apartment set up like Scheherazade's tent or something. And, with 100 candles, which took me forever to like relight and unlight, and everything was perfect, dark velvet curtains, and usher them in. And the music at that time, back again when the dinosaurs roamed, were the CDs. And so there was a 3-disc CD player, and that was for each period of time. So that would run the entirety, a little before and a little after of the session, which like a show. So I knew by the music cues and never having to look at my watch, like what time is it, where we were in the dance kind of thing. So there was a certain amount of time allotted for talking and sitting next to each other and flirting and having some champagne and getting him sort of in a place of, we're not going to jump in bed, we're not finishing in 5 minutes. Like, I'm going to take you on a journey. And men don't, usually they think, I'm going to see an escort, I'm going to do this, and I'm like, no, you're not, because now it's my apartment, my game, and my vagina. So we do it my way. And usually it was better that way, because at a certain point I could tell that he was getting like, is anything going to happen here? Am I just going to spend 2 hours on your sofa? So then there'd be a little kissing and a little bit of touching on the little tent that was growing, and then there was a moment where I'd say, shall we go into the bedroom? Then he would say yes. And then this is all, pretty scripted, but not anymore. And so he would stand up and I would say, well, you go take everything off but leave on your pants. I want to do that. And then I would go to the bathroom and reset my mind. Like I would reset it into either Marilyn Monroe or Audrey Hepburn or that sense of, or what's her name, Melina McCrory, and just, get into that mindset of courtesan-ness if I was out of it and put myself back into seductress or whatever.
Get back in the zone, as it were.
Yes, in the zone, like an athlete. A lot of KY just in case, because, I don't have time to juice it up myself. And then go back, and then the music's at a certain place, and I would tell him to stand there and close his eyes, and then I would just sort of touch him and take him on a journey until there was a lot of goosebumps. And then I sort of knew, like he was a camera almost. I knew exactly when he was looking at me as a close-up, like he was now on my eyes, and so I knew what to do with that acting-wise and so forth, until we got to the bed part, and then there was a kind of thing that happened there. And then at the end, there was like a towel that I had, like this towel warmer. So then there would be that. And so I wanted it to be like this full whole experience as if you went to the theater. And so in my mind, that was sort of, when I looked, even the vocal stuff, I knew how to use vocals to stretch things out and to make them sexier, or, where to put your voice to take him. So so he's never out of the moment thinking this is contrived or anything. So I guess in that way, Juilliard helped us so much.
Sounds like a 3-act stage play in a way. Your 3 CDs, and you know exactly where you are during those particular songs. What were the songs? You have to give me some of the songs.
Well, at that time especially, it was Nora Jones. It was especially Dance Me to the End of Love by Madeleine Perrault. And there was some Greek music and Arabic music for the sexy middle part, because all you wanted was instrumental of like
rhythm and
rhythm and that kind of like baby.
I have never seen Neil do that again. Do that again.
Do it again, Neil.
That's with clothes on as well.
Can we talk about touch? Because one of the things that I really remember from your book was a moment, and correct me if I get this wrong, but you had a client that was kind of mean and wasn't, you didn't want to be there. And you managed to turn him round, and it was a moment where you gave him a massage on his back. And if I remember, it was a moment that you realised that you had something more than just touching, that there was something else, that you had some kind of gift that kind of did something else. There's an energy, I guess. It's an energy.
Right.
So, I mean, you didn't really talk much more about that in the book, and that was something that really interested me. I was like, well, I wonder if that's something that she's taken on, the rest of her life and utilized in other ways. Not just in what you do for a living, but that that feeling, that energy in touch.
I've never used it in terms of they call it Reiki or so, but in that scene, I realized that my imagination of shifting energy actually made a difference. I saw it happen on him, and I realized that was there, and I then thought that must be true with all the rest of our energy. So I used it throughout my escorting years, but I think that's what Lynn was talking about in the first place in terms of being. I realized I'm empathic. Is that what they call it? Where you take on other people's stuff. I thought there was something wrong with me. Why am I so sensitive? Why can't I read the newspaper? Why do I melt down? So I think it helped me to be that way as an escort in terms of having people mean something to me, and there was an exchange of energy that I don't think guys could find normally, but particularly, I don't know. And that particular guy, I saw him for years after that. And he changed quite a bit. When I met him, he was a hoarder.
Quite a dramatic change.
I think it was that moment you were describing. You said these wonderful words. You said at that moment you touched him, you said, sometimes in our life our heart has to expand. One must choose expansion. I thought that was really powerful, the way you summed it up like that.
Oh, thank you. No, in the other book, I'm young, and I don't know how to react to a situation where it's a non-consensual sexual situation. And you could fight, and I thought, well, if I punch in his Adam's apple, he could die. And then I thought, no, because then I would be a murderer, you see, so I can't live with that. And so the only thing to do is to melt backwards, right, and to open yourself up to the moment. It was just my specific situation. I'm not saying that this is for every person in the universe in a bad situation, but for me, that's what I chose. Just kind of melting backwards, melting away. Like, it's hard to hold on to melt, It's hard to hurt melt.
Yeah, there are people who cannot quite see past the idea of sex worker. They just can't. And for whatever reason, it fills them full of rage. And I've watched you deal with that in really quite a beautiful way, which is you do that melt to, which is you allow them to have their space and let whatever rage comes out. It's fascinating. Which is that I'm going to ask you to tell me a story. I'm going to do my timer, and then I'm going to tell you what I hear, and you get to tell me whether it's right or not, right?
Okay.
Right, 2 minutes, my love. Tell me about diamonds.
Diamonds?
Yeah, diamonds. Ready? Go.
I had one once. A man actually asked me to marry him. It was a client first, and he thought I was somehow adorable, and we didn't really know each other very long. He asked me to marry him, and he put the ring in a champagne glass, and we were on our way to go see my cousin's wedding. I was taking him with me, and I nearly chipped my tooth on the diamond, but I put it on, and it was way too big, so it was spinning round and round. But I was so pleased, and I thought, well, my mother will be so happy I'm finally getting married, because I thought, why not? Last chance Texaco and all. And so we went to the wedding, and I went like this with my hand. I flung it forward, and the ring went falling off my finger. And so the whole wedding party at some point was searching on the floor, and he was searching, and my mother was crying, and she said, you can still marry her. She's trying to give me away. Like, she can't get rid of me. And finally, we could not find it. The wedding went on, and he's sitting on the side of the road with a cigarette, and thinking, you don't love me, that's why you did this. I'm like, I didn't purposely, okay. But so I went off to the women's bathroom, he went off to the man's, and that was going to be it. We lost this beautiful diamond ring. And then as the wedding was closing, we hear from our separate bathrooms this noise that sounds like Frankenstein's crowd, with pitchforks and lanterns, and, ha, 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 and you don't know what they're saying, but they're coming closer. And so we both come out, we look at each other, and it's my Uncle Roy leading the charge of an entire family wedding with swinging something in the air, saying, "We found the ring, we found the ring. It was in Grandma Violet's butt." And so the diamond ring was in Grandma Violet's butt, and he didn't want to marry me because of that. He thought it was a bad omen, which was fine, probably it was. But so here's what happened. It bounced down on whatever and bounced up into her chair, I guess. And she was the only person like sitting there, and just still sitting. And I guess because of old people suction, just got sucked right up her butt. And then she stood up, and he went to pull his mother's dress out of her little crack. And he pulled and it wouldn't come, and he had to yank it, and the ring came out and hit him in the face, and that's where it was. So that's my diamond story.
That is awesome. That's an awesome story.
What a great story.
And you see what I mean about being a great writer. Do you see?
Oh, yeah. I could see the whole thing in front of me. You painted an amazing picture there.
So, like diamonds, which is fascinating, diamonds signifies value, usually represents value.
Oh, no. Mine is up someone's butt.
No. Your value is not money. It's not money, right? So, like, the thing with diamonds is when you can ask people about diamonds and they'll go, "Oh, I really want diamonds," or "I've got a diamond and it's too small, I would like a bigger diamond," or "There are these places, there's the best diamond in the world." Yours was like this thing of this guy that I didn't really value gave me something that I should value that I didn't really want, and I didn't know how to do it. And the value that I found in this whole situation came from my family, who accepted me with all of my imperfections, right? Value is in people, right? That it came, your uncle coming going, "Oh, it was in Grandma Violet's butt," right? That actually, your value is not based on finance. It isn't like you don't find riches in how much money you have. You have riches by community and inclusion and people, right? And dogs.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Would you agree with that or not?
I do agree with that, actually. Yeah. Very much. So that's so interesting. You do this when you do the writing exercises. I don't know if she's put you guys through this.
It's a special power.
Yeah,
and it's magical.
She'll say, "Tell me about your shoes," and she'll talk about shoes, and then she'll say, "Well, that means you are spiritually from another dimension." You're like, "I am. I'm the dawning of the age of Aquarius."
Yeah, we know. We've been there.
Yeah. Like, I've listened to people talk about stuff like that, or, like rings or proposals or whatever, and they'll refuse to get married to somebody because they weren't, even though the ring was beautiful, they weren't asked in the right way. Whereas for you were like, "What's the point of this then?" Like, everything's going fine. He's given me this thing. It really doesn't fit me. I'm never going to be good at being married. I don't know why he thinks this is going to work out. But, like, okay, it'll make my mother happy. But then, actually, it only just disrupts everybody else's wedding. I'm really not fit out for being married.
Absolutely.
Right? Knowing that family's so important to you, how do your family deal with what you do? Do they know?
Well, I did everything under a pen name because, and I had to be secret for my whole life. It had to be a secret. Yeah. My whole life still is a secret. So but my father passed away 2 years ago, so I felt a little less of the need to, mostly I was doing it to protect them because I didn't want them to feel that their daughter had to do something because they couldn't take care of me. It was a much different situation than that. There was no financial resources with them, but at the same time, it was nothing they did. So I didn't want to have them feel hurt. But I found out recently that half of my family knows. And
that's funny.
And nobody said anything.
And you didn't know that they knew?
No, but they were very passive-aggressive in the way that they told me, and there wasn't a sense, I guess if they were to tell me, I would love for them to say, "Listen, I know, and I just want you to know that I love you, and whatever you chose, and it looks like you made a good life." I would have loved that, but that's not what was said. So I don't speak about it. Almost no one in my family knows outright. I haven't told they all think I'm sort of a failed massage therapist / whatever, you know. I guess I'm the failed one. Yes, but you know, I can't tell them. They don't want part of that journey. And I have other friends too that I've lost along the way because of this business. So
what happens when the book is a #1 bestseller and
God,
you're
well then
everywhere,
I'll just come out and
all over the media?
Yeah.
Then they'll want me, won't they? Then they'll really want
Then
me.
they'll love me.
They'll love me. Oprah will make them love me.
Have you found another family within your industry then? Like, did you, because you said you have a secret life, this life is secret. Have you found, because this is all about family and inclusion in groups, you have no interest really in being on your own, no matter how wealthy that would make you. Do you have another family that you created with in this new life?
I found that as things happened, you know, but in 2003, I met a woman who was going to help me build a house because I'd saved up to retire. So I saved up all this money, and she stole every dime I ever made in my whole life. And so I was back to broke. And so $1 million men later, you know, built my empire one penis at a time. So, but I found that the people who were not apathetic, a lot of people didn't know how to handle such a loss, so they just kind of didn't. They just didn't talk to me for a while. But the people who came through for me in terms of friendship or love or family were actually my clients, which I did not expect. So men that they were my clients, became really, really good friends. And they're still my friends to this day. So they're the ones that are always there. They remember my birthday, my daughter's birthday, you know. They're there if, like when my book came out, all my clients were on board. I sent out like a little email to friends, and mostly very few answered. But the ones who did were all my clients. And I thought that was amazing. You know, that when that woman took everything that I had, I thought, well, I have nothing left. It took me years to build this up. I can't, you know, anybody who loses their entire life savings is devastated, no matter how you did it. But I thought, so I've just spent 20 years working and I have nothing to show. And so there was a lot of going through, what do I have to show? And it's what you said, Lynn. I have people, I have the experiences, and because I was present, really present for them, and they were real relationships, even though there was a transaction, I had all that. And I left that situation eventually healing with, with those people becoming my dear friends. So my clients are now my dear friends, and so they're my family, I think.
We have our wonderful guests, that's you,
Yay!
Give us a song that means something to them, happy or sad, that you have an emotional connection to. And I recreate that song, do my own version as a gift to you here in my studio. So,
oh my God, that's wonderful.
Yeah, so tell us the song that you chose, Sephe.
I think I chose Perhaps Love by John Denver. Is that right?
That was the one.
Yeah.
We'd like to play this for you, and then maybe we can talk about it afterwards. If
I
that's
would love that.
okay with you?
Well, that's wonderful.
Just for you, Sephe Haven, here is Chesney Hawk's version of Perhaps Love.
Perhaps love is like a resting place, a shelter from the storm. It exists to give you comfort, it's there to keep you warm. And in those times of trouble, when you are most alone, the memory of love will bring you home. Perhaps love is like a window, perhaps an open door. It invites you to come closer, it wants to show you more. And even if you lose yourself and don't know what to do, the memory of love will see you through. Oh, love to some is like a cloud, to some as strong as steel. For some a way of living, for some a way to feel. And some say love is holding on, and some say letting go. And some say love is everything, and some say they don't know. Perhaps love is like the ocean, full of conflict, full of pain, like a fire when it's cold outside, or thunder when it rains. If I should live forever and all my dreams come true, my memories of love will be of you. Some say love is holding on, some say letting go. Some say love is everything, some say they don't know. Perhaps love is like the ocean, full of conflict, full of change, like a fire when it's cold outside, or thunder when it rains. If I should live forever and all my dreams come true, my memories of love will be of you.
Just for you, Sephe Haven, there's Chesney Hawkes performing Perhaps Love. Well done, Ches.
Oh, Chesney.
So beautiful, Chesney. You're so talented. Wow. You're making me, I'm verklempt.
Oh,
You're verklempt.
lovely.
That's a great word.
Sorry.
Tell us why that song then, Sephe. Share with us what special place that holds for you then.
God, I think just the way, and hearing you do it, Chesney, really brought it home, even more than when I normally heard it. Because I think that's what we were just talking about, what's left over when everything goes. It's what you bring into the room with you in any situation. It's what you bring to work with you. It's and it's a big question, what is love, and what is the different kinds of love, and you made me cry. I can't think and talk.
I can't multitask like that.
That's really beautiful.
It's a very sweet and innocent, beautiful song, that one. I feel like that he nailed that line. It kind of like all it needed is that my memories of love will be of you, because it looks back to that, whatever relationship they had at that point. And obviously right then and there he loved her. And I think once you love someone, I think you always love them, no matter what happens. It's that feeling is always going to be there somewhere. And I've always loved John Denver, so I was really happy you chose John. But fun enough, I hadn't heard that song before.
Wow. Yeah, it's a beautiful song. So I'm writing the next book that I'm writing is about this, and I thought I might name the book Perhaps Love, because it's 3 parts about different needs in love and different. The book starts out with a client wanting me to say I love you. That's what he wants, and it's the one thing I can't. It's the one thing I can't give, and it's a real sticking point, and I don't know why, because what does it matter, right? But it does matter.
Yeah.
It's the one thing that does matter. And so that starts out the book. And so that's why I think, and I also, in that song, you say the memories of you, I also think the you is universal, obviously. The memories of love will see me through also. So, yeah, and of course, he's so beautiful, John Denver, the way he taps into the heart.
Yeah, well, he has emotional connection for sure.
On the subject of music, Sephe, there's a wonderful line in your book. You talk about you being Jewish and your childhood friend was Catholic, and there's a great line in the book. It says, her God has better songs than us.
It's true. They had this great album.
Certainly more musical theatre.
Well, it was songs you could dance to, It was like they had this song, the Catholic song, "Up with People." I don't know if you're Catholic, but
I am, but I don't know. No.
It was like this whole album of like these, I don't know what there was nuns singing, but they're up with people. You meet them wherever you go. And we were like jumping on the bed, and it was like the best music. And ours was like Baruch Atah Adonai, and everybody can't sing, and they're just wailing.
It's very refreshing for someone who is a Catholic and has serious issues with religion, especially the Catholic religion. I think that's the first time in my life I've heard someone go, I prefer your religion to mine.
We have to come towards the end of the show, but one of the questions that we tend to ask is, knowing what you know now, right, about the journey that you've been on, what advice would you give to the younger you? Or what advice would you give to anybody who's just about to step into your industry?
In my business?
Yeah.
Just to stay open, to not be hard, otherwise things will hurt, and to find the love in men, so that remains a beautiful thing in your life and you don't get hard to it. And to be successful, you have to be dependable. You have to answer your phone. You don't ghost people. And I think, I think it's more about, my business is about love and compassion and not as much about sex. But it helps to be good at blowjobs. It really does. So watch snails. Snail porno is like amazing. If you watch snails, you'll know how to do everything. Yeah.
I guess there's something for everyone.
That's right.
Oh, Sephe, thank you for taking the time out to join us today. It's been
thank you all for having me. I
You
feel
have
really
been
special.
wonderful. Oh, you
Thank
are
you.
special, love. You are.
You
We
are.
love you.
It's great to see you and great to meet you, and I'm glad you're angelic today, Neil. And Chesney, your song was beautiful.
Oh, lovely. Well, look, thank you very much for your time. Sephe Haven on our podcast, everyone. Thank you, Sephe. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sephe.
There we go, team. Sephe Haven. That was fascinating, wasn't it? What a lovely, lovely woman.
Yeah, she's very serene and beautiful, isn't she?
She's
Really lovely.
I mean, obviously, the clue is in the quote that she chose, isn't it? With the be kind
Yeah.
thing. And then when you read the book and you find out the sort of person that she is and just what she said, she is a natural empath and a naturally kind and gentle person that will look for the good in everyone.
Yeah, and in every situation.
I think it's fascinating with her. Like, the reason I suggested her as well is because I think that her profession is definitely something that divides people.
Of
You know.
course.
So in fact, even just in a work base for me, like people who had a problem that I might also be working with somebody who was a sex worker were no longer suitable as clients.
Well,
Oh.
What I'd say about it is that I do believe in the integrity of knowing people, right? Which is, if people are your tribe, then let them be your tribe. If they're not, they're not. I don't actually categorise my friends in what they do.
no, I agree with that. You gather your friends how nice they are and how lovely they are and how they love you. And
Yeah.
it's simple as that, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and accepting. And I think the thing I find fascinating about her is that she is like, she didn't talk about it today, but she has some really not awful stories, but stories where, I mean, losing all your money's a fairly terrible one, but also being in situations of real threat, and yet still in the end she's come out like, I'm going to let go, I'm going to just melt into this, I'm not going to let it go for me.
Totally. There was a story that we didn't touch upon that I didn't know where to bring up either, where she lost a friend that she worked with, and this friend outed her as a sex worker in front of all of her friends and colleagues in a meeting with everybody there, and it was brutal, absolutely brutal. And how you get over that, I don't know. But she managed to do it with grace, and and some people followed with her, came with her, and some people didn't.
Yeah.
But it's testament to her as a kind soul that she is, that she's come through all of those situations. And
I also think it opens up something about shame. I think it's a really interesting concept on what is shame. Like, because when you say that about her friend did that to her, evidently to have shame, give her shame. Like, if you ask her why she's not saying about it, it's not really because she's ashamed of what she's doing. She's not.
No.
But she recognises how damaging it could be for other people, so she doesn't talk about it. And it really is that kind of
She
deal.
cares about what other people think.
She cares about what her family think.
Yeah.
She has a daughter, and she does come from a loving family. It isn't Starsky and Hutch, where they threw her out in the streets and she had to,
Fend
talk
for herself,
to Huggy,
yeah.
right? So she is being very mindful of other people, and she's not, as she gets graphic about stuff. She's not ashamed of what she does, but she would be ashamed to hurt people. And I think it's an interesting concept. I certainly know people who would not see her as their flavour.
What, because of what she does, you mean?
Yeah, because they have an attitude about what sex working is.
Yeah.
You mentioned it at the beginning. She has a natural concern about how other people feel about accepting her.
Yeah.
So she sort of wants to get it out in the open and almost clear the air before any sort of conversation or any encounter takes place, because she accepts that some people might not want to accept her, and she's happy that that's their opinion, and she's quite happy to just step away, isn't she, really?
She relaxes into it. It's an interesting thing. Do you know what, listener? This is one of those things that I would really like to know your opinion on. So message us on the socials. We'd really like to hear from you and what your thoughts are. I think that's fair, right?
Absolutely.
Anything else you'd like to add, gentlemen? Neil, I have never seen you glisten quite so much. It was hilarious. You were like, I love her.
Yeah, it's that gentleness. And like I say, so I had a bit of back and forth over the email in setting this up. And just straight away for her to come out with that quote. And then obviously in reading, I'm up to about 30 pages of the book, I know she's been through a hell of a lot. And she's an extremely kind, gentle, loving person. So, yeah, I was quite struck. Well, a lovely, lovely person for sure.
Thanks for bringing her along, Lynn.
Yeah, thanks, Lynn.
We're also going to
You're
adopt
right.
her as our friend as well. So there we go.
Yeah, I know.
absolutely.
See, that's what's happening.
Yeah, we're gathering friends. Everyone's gathering
That's a dinner
friends.
party we would like to be present at, and that we hope, there can be no ups or outbursts or we want it to be so bland that no one ever tells a story about that dinner party, okay? there's no stories to tell.
I tell you what I do want is I would like to, in my lifetime, be at a wedding party where the diamond ring is found up Grandma Violet's butt. I think
That was a
would
great
be-
story.
That
told-
would
show,
be
right?
quite
So well.
cool, right?
But just before we go, we should say check out Sephe online and her website, SEPHEHAVEN, SepheHaven.com.
Also, her books are available on Amazon.
They are, yes, absolutely. My Horizontal Life.
Alrighty,
So there you go.
Until next time, I have been Ferguson.
I've been Harrington.
And I have been Hawks.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye. You've been listening to Ferguson Harrington Hawks with Lynn Ferguson, Neil Harrington and Chesney Hawks. Written and produced for Source Productions by, surprise, surprise, Lynn Ferguson, Neil Harrington and Chesney Hawks.